Hey, Scott from MyGrowthRings.com. Here once again is in my sister's basement where we're getting back to the Shopsmith Joint-Matic. Now, I want to be clear, you do not have to own a Shopsmith Joint-Matic to accomplish the things that we've been talking about in this series. Basically, it's just a horizontal routing table. There are many ways of mounting a router horizontally, and you could even buy today stock machines that are basically horizontal router tables. This happens to be about a 20 to 25-year-old machine that Shopsmith used to make that does just that. It allows us to hold the router horizontally. Now in this video, we're going to be making some raised panels. I'm not making raised panel doors exactly. I'm just going to make some panels. And I'm going to show you how we can do that using this style of router table. And we're going to do that using a specialty bit that's known as a vertical raised panel cutter. Now, what makes this vertical? If you think about your typical raised panel cutters, they're typically a very large diameter. And to run those on a router table, you'll have to have, first off, a large opening in your router table, large enough to accommodate the bit, and you'll need to be able to slow the speed down. Most fixed speed routers are 20,000 and up, and that's just too fast of a tip speed to be running that size of router bit. So about 25 years ago, this style of bit was introduced that instead of going larger in diameter, it gets longer, and it was designed to run your raised panel itself vertically against your router table's fence, hence the name vertical raised panel cutter. And the problem with that is, as you are machining that cut, the edge that you're guiding across your router table is becoming thinner and thinner. And if you're using feather boards or push blocks, you're now pushing against less material than you started with. So this is where this type of machine, like the Joint-Matic, really shines, because we're going to use the bit this direction and our panel is going to remain flat. With the exception of the jointer, I prefer to have my stock running through all of my tools laying down flat, and we can do that with this machine. So for example, this is more of a traditional, almost just a straight beveled cut, where here we have some variations on the OG, kind of an S-shaped. This is the portion right here that's going to meet the panel. So this is going to create the fillet between the raised portion and the tapered portion, the reveal, if you will. And this is a new design that I purchased that has a more full body, kind of that anti-kickback design that we've become familiar with. So this one's brand new, and these are about 25 years old. These have got a titanium nitride coating on them that is supposed to help them run cooler and has certainly kept them from corroding. Now, this style of bit should have a 1/2 inch shank on it, and you can see we've been running a 1/4 inch bit here. So one of the things we're going to need to do to operate this is to swap out our collets for a 1/2 inch collet. Now, the first time I attempted to use one of these raised panel cutters, and by the way, it was a longer one like this one right here, I realized I can't use it because half of that bit needs to be under the table. And to do that, I'd have to turn this on and machine my table away. Now, one of the guys from R&D at Shopsmith said, well, let's go ahead and try it. So we mounted one of these bits, we turned it on, we lowered it in, and it cut the aluminum perfectly. And everything seemed to be okay. It looked like it was going to function. And then we tried to make a cut using the miter gauge. And here you can see, if I turn my miter gauge around, where that's going to be a problem. Yeah, it'll route right through the bottom edge of the miter gauge. And so I got to thinking about that, and I came up with an idea. So this was my idea. My idea was, what if we took a melamine board and made it so we could mount it in that miter slot? So I used the Shopsmith T-nuts, as you see here. And you'll notice that the miter bar, if this is going down into the miter slot right here, equal with even with these marks, that moves my miter gauge further away from the cutter. Additionally, this gives it a larger opening for the cutter. And so this goes on to the machine using a 5/32 hex wrench to loosen and tighten these. Let me grab one of those real fast. So we loosen those up. I need to sneak past my router bit, so let me crank that up so I'm not going to interfere with it. And those T-nuts should slide right into that aluminum extrusion miter slot. And then with that lined up, tighten it down. And you see what this does for me. Not only does it give me a place then for my router bit to go below the table, it moves my miter gauge further away, and it greatly increased the size of my table. And that allows me to support things like these raised panels, much more support. So let's go ahead and cut one of these. I'm going to do one here using just a simple pine board, and then we'll do one with red oak. That's been quite a number of years since I have used this cutter. What I can remember is when you do the end grain with most raised panel cutters on a router table or a shaper, you tend to get a lot of tear out, and you get less tear out on the long grain. So typically what you do is you do your end grain first, get whatever tear out you're going to get there, and then you do your long grain. And actually you can start on the end grain and then just work your way around the clock. You don't want to take off too aggressive a cut here, so I've got that set. I don't know what I'm taking off there. Taking off about 1/8 of an inch. Might be too much. We'll find out. Oh, couldn't get a worse cut. Look at how awful that looks. It also looks very washed out. That looks terrible. Yuck. Maybe I was taking a little bit too aggressive of a cut as well. Let's lower that down. I can be taught. We'll try that on the other end. So we're getting zero dust pickup. So let's see what's going on. I wonder if my plate is filled up with dust here, and that may be part of my issue. I'm getting zero dust collection here. Something is wrong. I'm getting plenty of tear out on the end grain, if you can see it there. So it's not tearing out on the long grain. It is tearing out on the end grain, as a typical raised panel cutter would do. All right, so depending upon your cutter would determine exactly what your final shape is here. Maybe you're starting with 5/8 inch material. This is 3/4. The goal is to get down to 1/4 inch here to go into our stiles and rails of our door frame. If this is the shape I'm happy with, I can create a rabbet on the back of this panel just using a straight cutter, table saw, dado blade. But let's try this out with the oak. By the way, dust collection is horrible. I'm going to bypass the cyclone just to see if I can improve this because it's not right. All right, keep the red oak. All right, so we're on our way. I'm getting zero dust collection now. So I'm wondering if maybe, again, if behind my plate I'm getting a clog. I'll pull the motor out. Oh, I know what it is. Oh, dagnabbit. So, no, I don't know what it is. We're getting plenty of suction. Maybe it's just producing so much dust. I don't know. All right, let's crank this up another 1/16 of an inch. Depth, we're just about to where we're getting a fillet right here, a little bit of a step. So I think we're going to go up. I'm going to go one more 1/16 of an inch, but I'm going to do that in 2 passes. So I'm making half a turn of my. All right, so having some memories about the last time I used the Joint-Matic to make raised panels. One of my memories was I was getting these score lines across the face of my board, and maybe you can see them. I know I can. There's some real fine lines that I certainly can sand out, but what they are is the sharp edge of the melamine, where this melamine was dadoed in order to accept that aluminum extrusion for the miter slot. This is a brand new table that had never been used. And so that needs to get eased a little bit with some sandpaper, and that'll prevent that from happening. Not a bad looking raised panel, if I do say so myself. Let's admit some things here. First off, dust collection was horrible. Now you understand that that thing's removing a lot of stock over its length. Very difficult for any vacuum to keep up. But boy, I think that what's contributing to that and why it was clogging up more than I remembered is that anti-kickback design on that router bit. My previous bits didn't have that, so they had a much larger gullet to accept chips. I like the fact that it's anti-kickback, so I don't know. We'll go either way on that. I'll link to some of these bits. You can pick these up on Amazon. The old style that I have, I've not found recently, so I'll have to keep an eye out for those. Is this my preferred way of routing a raised panel? No, not at all. First off, give me a shaper. give me a 5 horsepower shaper any day. But for a wood shop, maybe a 3.5 horse variable speed plunge router mounted into a router table, spinning a large diameter raised panel cutter. That's a dream. But what you give up with sticking with a high speed, lower horsepower is the fact that you're going to have to make multiple passes to get these results, but they're not bad at all. Now, the other advantage of this machine is, again, we can make dovetails, we can make box joints, we can make mortise and tenon joints, we can make the whole frame of the raised panel. But let's talk about used. The Joint-Matic, you can pick these up used. I wouldn't pay more than $200 for it, unless it includes a bunch of accessories. If it has this optional table, if it comes with a miter gauge, if it comes with the featherboard hold down, which was an option, if it comes with, there was a thing they called a bevel miter, which is a funky miter gauge specifically for doing joints where the board is angled up. Those would add to the value of it. But just understand that you can buy a machine that's similar to this for somewhere between $200 and $500. A couple companies make them, and they're not bad. And so we'll address that next weekend, and then we'll put this whole horizontal router thing to bed. But I look forward to your questions, comments, and cheap shots. We'll answer those in our midweek Stumped Q&A video. In the meantime, make it a great week.